This dude would come in and buy like a Rari or whatever cash at 3 a.m. on like a Tuesday night. And he would come in mad late and he would pull out all the watches and he'd ask all these questions and he'd beat them up on price and get a discount. And they had to call the owner. They called the owner mad late at night, like 2 a.m. The owner would give him a discount, give him the price he wanted, and then he would go, I don't want it. And he'd leave.
When I say weird spot, it's with Tatum. Like, what do you do with Tatum, right? You're playing so good right now. You're playing just as well. I'm not sure that Boston can win the championship without Tatum playing well.
What are your thoughts if Bronny somehow gets a Bronny 1? Like, there's plenty of players that don't have shoes. Steph doesn't even have a shoe right now.
The MLS, Major League Soccer, will never fully get going in the U.S. because the availability of the English Premier League in this country has been steadily increasing and is going to skyrocket and kind of outcompete them. I mean, it is the talent level there. There's no comparison.
We obviously have Jokic. I ruled out of any of these awards, I think, with how much time he missed. And I think with just what's going on, you have either Cade or Jaylen Brown potentially as the MVPs. Podcast with your boy Mac Annam and your boy Todd Tomlinson.
What's good?
Good, man. A lot going on. Something I haven't told you about. Our boy Rico's got he's the plug for anyone that wants to make some college basketball bets. Let me tell you the teams that I've bet money on in the past 2 weeks. I'm going to try to remember them all. South Alabama or Alabama State, Detroit Mercy, which I don't even know what that is. But I watched the game. That was actually a strong bet by our guy Rico. Montana State. There's a school that I never heard of that was in Massachusetts that had a gym that was like a high school gym where it was a wall on one side, walls on this side, and then bleachers that go this way that you can't see. So it was like high school. There's more. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
There's no way Rico's watching all these teams. The only thing I trust Rico on is horse racing.
He has the system, bro. He calls it the system.
Is it working? No,
I don't know what I mean, dude. He wins most. All right, so we have a bet for tonight. New Mexico +1.5 at Nevada. Yesterday, Texas A&M Community College. I think CC stands for. That one covered a money line bet over Southeast Louisiana. We had Lamar versus Nichols.
Okay.
We had University of Texas Rio Grande Valley versus McNeese.
Who does he got? So shout out to University of Texas Rio Grande Valley. One of my best friends, Kahil Fennell, head coach. Just so you know, Matt. So you better be. I don't know where the bet went.
What we had +17.5 and an alternate spread, and they lost by 7. So they covered by 10 points.
Rio Grande Valley lost by 7.
Yeah, they were favored to lose by like 6 or 7. Or 8 or something.
Well, that's my boy. Shout out to Kahil Fennell, head coach at Rio Grande Valley. He's going to be doing big things there. Second year head coach.
Fire.
So, yeah, shout out to them.
I didn't get any insider info on that. We had Florida Atlantic over North Texas. Drexel Towson, which he keeps betting on teams from the DMV. We have Weber State, Montana. UC Santa Barbara, Hawaii.
Okay.
Mercer versus Samford. The most normal game was Tennessee Vandy. We did East Carolina Charlotte. We did the Denver Nuggets at Portland Trailblazers +9.5. And I just did it because he was on fire. I was like, Denver's going to run them off the floor. Because obviously I don't know anything about these college teams. I watch too much NBA. Denver won by 50. and the spread was 4.5 or 2.5 or something. We bought it at 9.5. Then there's Detroit Mercy. Let's see, is there any more in here? UNC Wilmington versus Monmouth. Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Vermont, UMBC, Florida International Liberty, and that's enough. So this is what I've been watching, and I've watched a lot of these games.
Shout out to Rico. I will say, when it comes to horse racing, my guy, when we were at the Derby last year, he won me some money. So shout out to Rico. How those bets going?
I mean, he's probably 2/3.
Okay,
you want that?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly he just knows. We've had some couple where it's like we lost a couple parlays by like 1 point in one game. Like last night, I forget what game it was. Was it Nichols? It was I don't know. whatever. These two teams, they're bad. There's a freshman who's playing point guard for this team. I mean, this is really bad basketball too. Some of these games, and the dude misses. They're down one. The dude misses 2 free throws. He's the point guard. Then the other team goes down, hits a 3, and the craziest sequence happens ever. So they go down the next play. They hit a 3, right? And then the team turns the ball over, and the dude's like saving it out of bounds, and he throws it behind his back, and he saves it across the court down to a dude who's streaking for a dunk. It was a great pass. I don't know if he meant to do it or not. Then the other team gets the ball back with 8 seconds, right? They have 2 fouls to give. They foul the dude with 4 seconds left as he like makes a cut like right at the top of the circle because obviously he's going to the bucket. They're down 1. 4 seconds left. 1 more foul to give. So you think, all right, the second the dude puts the ball on the floor, you foul him, so they get the ball back with 2 seconds left, and they don't even have time. What does the dude do? Crosses up the defender, down the lane, layup, wins the game, and we lost.
I mean, we gotta give Rico on the pod one of these days, give you his best bets, see how we do, see if it moves the money line at all. But shout out Rico, man.
Yeah,
those are some wild games to watch. You're a true hoop head if you watch those games. But
some of the games I couldn't even get, but like some of them you're watching them. And actually, the ones yesterday. Like there was an NBA game. There was the Detroit. There was the Houston game was on TV through the same app through Hulu, and it was like perfectly clear. But these college basketball games look like the old school joint where it was like a little fuzzy. I don't think they were even broadcasting them in HD because I thought like, oh, maybe the internet's being weird, but it wasn't because when I flipped it to the NBA, it was perfect. So shout out to betting on standard definition college basketball games in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But anyway, so that's what I've been up to, man.
Love it. A true hoop head, man. I can watch hoop not any level. D1 hoop, been watching a lot of college basketball, but yeah, again, shout out University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Watch out for that program. It'll be great.
Fire.
Yeah, love it.
Every single bet that we made on a team from the DMV, which for those who don't know is DC, Maryland, Virginia. So Coppin State, Towson, UMBC, VCU, and Richmond Spiders, both in Richmond. And there was one other game. I can't remember. We lost every single one that was against the team from the DMV. Not really sure why. Back to my roots, and it's taking me down. But, I kind of want to start with something that's a little heavy. Obviously, for those that don't know, very sad story. Rondale Moore, 25 years old, found dead in his home in southern Indiana, supposedly unaliving himself, which is very sad. So for folks that know anyone that has any type of potential mental issues or any disabilities, please get them in touch with someone. We have some contacts in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area and in the Southwest. So if you shoot us a message, we can put you in contact with someone that could help. It's very serious, very sad. Had a great career. He's from southern Indiana, but he went to high school in Louisville. He went to Trinity High School. Do you know who went to Trinity High School? Rico. Back in the middle, 2017 state champion, freshman of the year at Purdue, first team All-American. He had like 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. He won the most versatile player award, which I didn't even know they had, but second round pick to the home team Arizona Cardinals in 2021, played 3 years. I don't know if any of this has anything to do with it, but he was traded to Atlanta, had a preseason knee injury in 2024, and then missed 2025 with a different knee injury preseason. So hopefully that wasn't it. I don't know what it was, but super sad. Supposedly a super nice guy. All the, his college coach, his Arizona Cardinals organization, and his high school coach, actually, they all had super positive things to say over the last day or two since this took place. The vibe in Louisville, from what I understand, is that everyone loved him, and it's just a tragedy. It's terrible that it had to happen. The only reason we should talk about it is so hopefully, if there's anyone out there that needs support, whether it's from us or anywhere else, that you make that phone call, man, and try to get some help and see if there's a way that we could avoid, even at least one of these things in the future, man.
Yeah, you check on your people, and to your point, I mean, great player. I don't want to speculate on why this happened, but having several devastating injuries and football has been your life, and what how you thought your career might go. You're battling a lot of different things. I'm sure mentally and internally it was really hard for him, but you look and he had posted something on social media a couple of days ago, and seemed like everything was fine. That's why you don't want to assume. People who are going through mental health don't always come off as being depressed or being upset. Sometimes they always have a smile on their face. So, check on your people. Young man, I think he was 25 years old, had his whole life ahead of him. I'm sure there's a lot of people that that wish that they could have talked to him or done more, but maybe they didn't know. So check on those people around you. To Matt's point, get help. There's resources, but just tragic. I've heard the same as you, Matt, about how great of a person he was and how everybody loved him, and he dealt with a lot of unfortunate things in his young career, and just wish it could have been avoided. So just echo all you're saying, and just a really sad and tragic situation all the way around.
Agreed. Let's take a moment of silence for Rondale Moore and his family. All right. To a little more vibrant topic. We've all seen the rumors. We've all seen the posts by our guy 50 Cent about Floyd Mayweather. So we're getting a Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao rematch, which
they got to be broke, right? They both got to be. I don't know, bro. What are we doing?
50 says that he is. Says that he sold a bunch of his cars and doing all this stuff. I mean, it's been literally almost 16 years since their last fight, which did take place at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. This one will be taking place on September 19th at the Sphere.
That's cool.
So we all know how expensive that is. We know those tickets are going to be off the charts. Manny's is going to be 47 and will be 47, I believe, at the fight. Floyd's about to turn 49 in a couple of days. So we've got two 50-year-olds boxing. They're probably making 50 million or 70 million or 100 million or whatever they're making. But we're going to bring you some exclusive content, multiple different Floyd Mayweather stories on the ways in which he spent his money, which is crazy. And we all know, like, he was the single largest owner of Bugatti cars, which they make like 50 a year or something, and they're a couple $1 million or something each. I'm not even sure. Ronaldo has a few. Floyd Mayweather was the largest owner in the world of Bugatti cars at one point, which leads me to my first story.
Let's hear it.
So, without getting too much into it, I lived in Las Vegas for a while for the first 6 months of 2015, and dated a girl for a hot second there that worked at a luxury, like one of these luxury car dealerships. So not like a Ferrari dealership, but like a luxury auto collection or whatever they have here, where you can go and you can buy like regular cars. You can buy like any car. A lot of the times they have like a lot of exotic cars and things like that. And Floyd was he frequented, this one specific car dealership. I don't even remember what it was called. But what he would do back then is call the owner in the middle of the night. It might be 2 a.m, it might be 3 a.m, and get the owner. And sometimes this girl had to go and open the store. Sometimes the owner would go and open the store. And this dude would come in and buy like a Rari or whatever cash at 3 a.m. on like a Tuesday night. So I don't know what they're up to, but that's what he was doing with that bread, man.
Wild work.
That's crazy work. And I didn't even believe her. I didn't believe her because, like, you don't know her. You're like, yeah, okay, what you really doing? But no, I mean, for real. Like, that's what was going down. So.
And let me say, like, I've always, if anybody that followed Floyd, he would place the wildest, most lucrative bets. I mean, he was I'm sure still is like an avid gambler. He'd only post his winnings when he'd win, like the tickets to the wins. But you got to imagine that, look, it's gambling, on sports and all this stuff. I'm sure he lost a ton of money. I mean, he was putting up, a lot, 500,000 here, 700,000 there, even $1 million on these bets. And he would post when he won. He obviously wasn't going to post when he lost. He's in Vegas, probably the worst place for him to live.
Yeah, he gambled at the M Casino. It wasn't too far from my house. That's where he'd go make his bets at the sports book in the M, which is like 20 minutes south of Mandalay Bay. It's a nice spot, but yeah, so he must have lived out in Henderson or something. But
yeah, and he's he's betting on basketball and football, and Floyd's a boxer. Like, I don't think he's some kind of avid or experienced or expert sports bettor. He just had the bread and he was doing it. And when you live like that, you think of all the money he made, but when you're living the way he's living, that money goes quicker than you think. But it's wild and hard to imagine that. And look, he's got to be hurting for money. He has to be. There's no other reason to do this. There's not. Like, you have nothing left to prove in boxing. You've made all that money, and if you did it the right way, like, why would you come back? It doesn't make, at 50 years old.
But you think after the Jake or Logan Paul, whichever one he fought, like, that should be like, okay, that's 50, 60 million. Like, obviously you're paying tax on, 40% or whatever of it, but isn't that enough to just like chill for a minute?
For sure. And if you're investing all the money you made in the first place, you're making money off the money you already made. So I'm sure bad investments, spending way too much money. This is wild. And let me ask you, do you have any interest in this fight?
No, absolutely
no, dude. Like, the first fight happened like 7 years too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, the first
fight was already like, man, maybe Manny would have had a chance if it was a little before. And that was 11 years ago.
And that fight was, again, like 6 years too late, 5 years too late already. And now we're coming back to this fight. It's just, look, the legends, I don't want to see Tyson fight anymore. Don't want to see Floyd. Don't want to see Manny out there. Like, it's done. It's wild. So, I mean, Manny, I'm sure
Manny will knock him out, because that's the only thing people might be buying tickets for. But what we should do is just not go to it and not watch it, because it's going to be terrible. Dude, I remember a fight, like, I must have been like 30 years old or 32, where you go and Floyd, I mean, this is like 15 years ago or whatever, and Floyd literally is dancing around the ring, doesn't want to punch people. And I remember watching it at a bar in D.C. God, this had to be 2012 or 13, and it was an awful fight, even when he was in his prime, because he's not hitting anybody. That's not his goal. He's a boxer, right? He's not a brawler. But, like, to watch this where they're not going to hit each other, I don't know, man. Like, we need to not watch it. And I'm not going to hate on Jake and Logan Paul, but, like, I'm never watching another one of those fights either.
Get suckered into it, man. Like, people are going to buy it.
Do it, and then you kind of do it last minute,
Yeah, it's nothing to do, right? There's nothing else on. Like, people are going to buy the fight. To your point, like, people who appreciate the sweet science of boxing, like, Floyd was a counterpuncher. He was defensively probably the best of all time. Maybe him or Sweet Pea as boxers. So he wasn't, he could be good offensively, but that wasn't his game. He was a counterpuncher. He was setting traps and stuff like that. At this point in their career, and to your point, I don't know, like, how many punches are even going to land in this fight. And you always get suckered into it. Like, it's going to happen. September's going to come. I'm not going to have shit to do that night. I'll be like, whatever. And I just got to make sure. I just don't have any interest.
It's on Netflix. So
it's on Netflix? Yeah. I'm probably going to end up watching it, man. I didn't even know it was on Netflix. So I'm probably going to end up watching the damn thing. And I have no interest in it. It's going to be, I can't imagine it's going to be an entertaining fight. I don't know. I'm, there's a lot of great boxers that I do want to see. Floyd and Manny aren't one of them anymore. So, I couldn't believe when I saw that yesterday. I thought it was,
I don't know if Manny's down bad or not. Maybe he is, but Floyd's definitely down bad because, he's undefeated. He doesn't want to actually go into a real fight where he might lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if maybe he can't lose, but there's always a chance that who knows what's going to happen.
One of the GOAT Manny skits of all time was when Drake impersonated Manny for the ESPYs. Got to maybe roll that clip. That was, if you haven't seen that, it's pretty damn funny.
We are going to start with the song from Frozen, no?
Sure.
Okay.
Fire it up.
Sometimes people only want Manny Pacquiao to fight all the time. I can't fight for the rest of my life, I have to do different things that make me happy, so I like to sing. The snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen.
Bro.
The ESPYs that you and I attended, by the way.
Stuart Scott's final speech, Drake with the side pieces, and it was epic. It was crazy. That was if we were gonna go to one, that's the one.
Matt and I were in the house for that. Like you said, Stuart Scott's speech, Drake hosting. Matt and I were lucky enough to be there. But man, what a time! And to your point, if we had to be at one, we chose the right one to be at.
Okay, so we've all agreed that this fight's going to be terrible, and we're going to watch it and be mad that we watch it afterwards. But there's two more stories.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
The last one's better. The middle one, there's a guy I know in Phoenix that sort of kind of helps some watch dealer somewhere. I don't really know. Sell watches, and he like we were texting about the fight, and he told me I didn't know this story till actually yesterday. But Floyd Mayweather bought a Richard Mille, which I don't know which one it was or how much he exactly paid, but he owed them $400,000 for over a year, and eventually did pay them. But I think they got some leverage through like a friend that knew him, and like they were telling him like, "Yo, this dude's not paying us," and then he ended up doing it. I don't know that he would have done it without that. So
How much was the watch? Was the watch more than that, and he paid part of it and owed 400?
I don't know. I didn't really dig into it. That's just what they told me, and I didn't want to.
And say the name again so people say it right.
Richard Mille.
It's not Richard.
Richard. RM.
Richard.
You can say RM. I don't know.
There you go. Say RM. Say RM for those just to sound cultured in the watch game. That's wild, but
Okay.
it's and I'm sure
For
like
him, that's nothing though. Probably like that. Probably was all the time.
well, maybe, but if you think, how many watches he has, that's going to add up to millions on millions, and maybe he's probably buying watches for other people, and how many have those has he given out? Right? I've seen all
Maybe it
kinds
wasn't even for him. Who knows?
Yeah, I've seen all kinds of videos back in the day of him, buying, 10 Birkin bags at once for all the ladies in his life, and if y'all don't know how much a Birkin is, it's just the guy is spending like the money was never going to run out. So
yeah, so this
That's
other
crazy.
story.
this is the
One of
best.
those, I only made a couple friends in the 6 months that I lived in Vegas, but there's a dude that I met that worked at the Hublot store, which is another watch brand. Met him through a friend that lived in my building, my complex. And one night we went out and he's having a couple drinks, and I was like, dude, who comes into your store and buys watches, because obviously like they do a ton of collabs with athletes, like Triple G has a watch with them. A bunch of people have, and he tells me about Floyd Mayweather. But Floyd Mayweather, like in the story, would come in, and in the Caesars, I think they were open till like 11 or midnight or something like that. They were open late because it's in the Caesars. And he would come in mad late, and he would pull out all the watches, and he'd ask all these questions, and he'd beat them up on price and get a discount. And they had to call the owner, and I think the owner lived in Jersey or of the boutique in Jersey or somewhere on the East Coast. So they called the owner. It's mad late at night, like 2 a.m. The owner would give him a discount, give him the price he wanted, and then he would go, nah, I don't want it. And he'd leave, right? This is crazy. He did that a couple times. So the third or fourth time he comes in, the main manager's there, not the guy telling me the story. The guy telling me the story was there for the first couple ones, or at least part of them. The main manager's there. The main manager knows the story. He comes in. It's getting closer to closing time on Sunday, which I think might be a little bit earlier. And he's like, hey, man, can I see that? And he's like, sure. And he's like, hey, it says it's whatever price it is. Can you do it for X? And the guy's like, look, man, you've done this enough times. To Floyd Mayweather. You've done this enough times. Like, I'm not calling the owner. You're not going to buy it anyways. Let's just call it what it is. And he goes, I'm not a buyer? I'm not a buyer? What? I'm going to buy it right now. Give me this price. I'm going to buy it. So he gets it and he buys it, right? Buys the watch. What does Floyd do after this, which is the best part, is it'll be once a week or something like that. He walks past the boutique, never goes in, and he yells, I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer. Like into the store through the open door, and like everyone in the store can hear it. And then he walks away. And then on the way back, he would do it again.
He's wild.
I'm a buyer. I'm a buyer. So I guess challenging Floyd Mayweather to not being a buyer made him a buyer, in which he,
That's why
as far as I know, for at least a long time after, he would go by, and every time he walked by, he'd yell, I'm a buyer.
That's why he's broke, because he's a buyer. He needs to be
Maybe that's it.
yeah. He needs to be not a buyer. Try
That
not
story,
buying,
though. Oh man, I remember when I heard it, because I probably didn't tell it as good, and I probably missed some details. I heard the story 11 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago, and I don't speak to the person. I haven't talked to that dude in forever now, but man, I wish we'd get that dude to tell the story, because I'm sure it was better. But we had some few Floyd stories for you there. Maybe that speaks to why we're going to get a fight on September 19th at the Sphere that we're all going to watch on Netflix, which we shouldn't watch.
We shouldn't. One thing I really miss, and back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, but HBO, when they were still pay-per-view, in the lead up to big fights, they'd have a show called 24/7, where it's like, a docu-series on the fighters preparing for the big fights, man. And that used to be like, I bet like 2006 to 2009 was like the height of that. And I used to love that show, man. So it was I wish they had it again to get you hyped up for the fight.
Like
You
the
know,
documentary
HBO,
again with all, it was so good.
yeah, HBO did such a great job with those things, man. Just like they do with Hard Knocks. Like HBO was always the best at those, sports docuseries types of things, and I miss them. But for this fight, don't got to say it again, but I don't need it. Don't want it. Honestly, I hate seeing legends go out bad because no matter who wins, I can't imagine either one of them looks good, and you just want to see the greats go out on top. That's why I don't when you see Mike go out there, it's just like you don't want to see it, man. So anyway, they're broke. I'm sure I'll watch. It's on Netflix. And then we'll come on the pod and talk about how bad of a fight it was.
Why would we didn't watch it?
Yep, but maybe they'll surprise us. Who knows? I doubt it.
I mean, if Floyd takes an L, which I don't want to see a great like that taking an L, but he keeps putting himself in the situation. So,
well, it's going to happen eventually. But we got to ask Rico when the time comes. Who we need to put money on.
What does the system say? Is the question. I don't know the answer. I don't know who or what the system is, but it has some decent choices.
Sure.
One thing I will say is, as it relates to Mike, before we move on, is I don't think he was allowed to hit Jake Paul the way he wanted to in that fight, because I feel like when you watched him in the warm-ups and when he was sparring and things like that, as they showed like any of his prep work, obviously look, he's 50 whatever years old, but he was quick, he was strong, and he just didn't even throw punches in that fight. Like, he was literally just a punching bag.
Bizarre.
No, he would have knocked him out. He would have knocked him out 100% if he threw a punch.
Bizarre. Even the Anthony Joshua fight, like, Joshua ended that right away.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
That one though, someone, I forget who told me, someone was like, bet over 3 rounds or something. So my gut tells me, because it was either the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th round, whatever round it was, it changed and Joshua just tore him up. He didn't try to do it in the beginning. There's no way he could have made it out of that first round if he didn't want to.
No chance. I don't know if you saw, man, he had a second jaw surgery. I don't know if you saw Jake Paul had to get a second one. It's wild. He's got like this Bane type of thing going on. So that's the man.
He got hit with a freaking Louisville Slugger in the jaw, man. He got smoked.
It was, I mean,
I like $70 million tax free because he lives in Puerto Rico and doesn't pay federal tax. So
you can break my jaw for that much.
Did you see the picture of him getting on the plane and he had it all cash and it was laid out through the whole plane?
I didn't, but post it.
And it was right. It was like the next day.
Yeah.
And look, guys, I'm betting like $50, $100 on these games. Floyd was betting millions.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
All right. For our next topic, what we want to get into is whether or not the Utah Jazz are tanking. So we've brought on our good friend, Dr. Matt Hershkovitz, as our first ever guest on the Can't Teach Taste podcast. Clap it up for my man.
Legend.
One of the smartest guys you'll hear from. Just to give a little bit about his background, he did his undergraduate degree in nuclear engineering at MIT. I'm sure that wasn't too hard to get into. After that, he did med school at the State University of New York. He did his ear, nose, and throat otolaryngology residency at University of Cincinnati Medical Center. And to top it off, he did a special fellowship in facial plastics and reconstructive surgery at Stanford, which makes him, I guess, probably the most relevant person to talk about whether Yusuf Nurkić should be spending 7 weeks or missing 24 games on the sidelines to get his deviated septum corrected. Dr. H, thank you for coming on, and we welcome you, man.
What's up, Dr.
Thank
H?
You. Great to be here. Happy, big fan of the podcast. Been listening since the beginning.
Love that.
Appreciate it, man. We got the biggest Buffalo Bills fan in the house as well. Just in case anyone's wondering, this is the biggest Josh Allen fan there is. So, maybe we can bring him on to talk about the 2026-2027 season. But for now, Dr. H, if you could speak, about what Yusuf Nurkić is having done. The only thing that we've seen is that he has a deviated septum and he's getting it fixed.
Yeah. So when I heard about this and Yusuf Nurkić having a septoplasty, okay, sounds reasonable. And then when I heard 7 weeks recovery, missing the rest of the season, that's wild. Not a chance you actually need that much time for just a septoplasty. And for argument's sake, let's just say they're going to do, it's a really bad septum and they need to do rib cartilage and all that stuff, which I don't see why you would actually need to do that. Like that's kind of like a revision rhinoplasty type situation, which is not his case. But let's say you do that, maximum 4 weeks. Okay. And the chance that this guy's going and getting a cosmetic rhinoplasty, that would kill his career. Why would you do something like that? So there's zero chance of that happening. So it sounds like, this is just a convenient excuse. And to be honest, I was thinking about it. This is a convenient excuse for both sides. Both sides benefit from this. Okay, so let's think about this. This is now I'm not the sports expert. I do septums, but from a untrained person like myself, he's having a banner year, or at least a year as good as his first year with the Suns, and probably close to what he was doing in Portland. Right. This is the last year of his contract, so he's a correct me if I'm wrong, free agent after this year, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. He can probably make some bank. He can definitely make some bank, and he's putting up good numbers on a terrible team. Now, if the Jazz don't have to play him the rest of the year, his numbers are set in ice. They're done. He's done. He did his job. He can make bank next year on probably a different team. And any incentives that he might have, I don't know what his salary, how it's structured, but if he's got incentives, the Jazz probably aren't going to have to pay him. So they save some money. They free up salary cap room. Honestly, makes a lot of sense to call this a 7-week recovery. But to actually, if you know what he's having done, you understand it, it's bananas. It makes zero sense that he actually needs 7 weeks to do this.
What would you say, Dr. H, on average, and we don't know exactly the extent of the septoplasty, but I guess your run-of-the-mill septoplasty, if you're working with a professional athlete, what does the recovery time normally for something like this look like?
I mean, honestly, maximum 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Maximum. Probably less. These guys, he could have been pretty functional and returning to the game after a week, to be honest. Okay, but 2 weeks maximum. In my practice, we get actually a fair amount of mixed martial arts fighters, UFC fighters. So, those septums are probably some of the worst I've seen. And even then, they're good. They're breathing fine after 2 weeks. Now, is it a good idea to get hit in the nose after that? No. But, that's just true going forward. It's never a good idea to get hit in the nose.
Right.
So, again,
yeah. 2
weeks. That's all he actually needs. 2 weeks maximum.
There's precautions players can take, like they can wear the mask, so on and so forth. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, I mean, and tanking has been a hot topic in the NBA, as we all know, for the last couple of months and what teams are doing. And it sounds like this is another convenient move by the Utah Jazz to, just lose more games, because 7 weeks, even when I first heard it, I'm not an expert, that's why I have Dr. H on, sounded like an insane amount of time to be out for a procedure, which, from my knowledge, takes, a lot less time.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, look, they're gonna. I think that they're completely doing this to tank. I mean, just as a corollary, you relate this to the NFL. You wish the New York Jets would do something like that, so they get a better draft pick, and Mendoza could have been playing for the Jets instead of the Raiders. But
a little dig.
Yeah, that's not the topic of today's conversation.
It's okay. When we get Dr. H on, even I still love him, even though he's a Buffalo fan. As y'all know, I'm a Jets fan, so there's a little bit of friction there. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
And if you wouldn't mind, before we get into the Jazz, who have already been fined by the NBA for tanking this year because they sat Nurkić, Triple J, and Keontae George in all of the fourth quarter in a game in which they were winning.
Marketing, too.
Crazy. And marketing. Yeah, I mean, they have a good team. But to your point, Nurkić will be getting a bag somewhere. I mean, he was grabbing 15 boards a game. I mean, him and Frank Vogel didn't talk for the last month and a half he was in Phoenix. I watched him every game. He was disengaged. The second that the huddles would start, he would walk away and dribble the ball with his feet, like playing soccer with it. I mean, he wouldn't talk to anyone. So he's balling out. To your point, he's going to get paid. He's going to be able to breathe, right? Should have came to you because he could have played next week, which he didn't. But if you could, for the audience, explain, obviously, you could talk about traditional techniques in the operating room versus your technique in the office, and what, if you can make it in English, what exactly it is or would you do, or what is his surgeon going to do for him, functionally to allow him to breathe better?
Like you're talking to a fifth grader, not somebody who you went to school with at MIT. I think is what Matt's trying to say.
All right, so let's talk about the septum. So really easy. We breathe out of our nose. It's really easy. Okay. The septum is the cartilage. You can feel it sits in the middle of your nose. Now, as that thing gets moved to one side from hits or trauma, whatever, it blocks one side. Sometimes it'll curve one way and then the other way, and it can block both sides. And that, is going to affect athletic performance. It's a very important thing for athletes to be able to properly breathe through their nose, no doubt. So what is a septoplasty? Basically, that is just straightening the cartilage in the middle of the nose so you can breathe. Just make room in there, make sure you can breathe. The way it's done, there's several ways. You could take someone to the hospital, to the operating room, put it to sleep. You could do it minimally invasive. You could do it endoscopically minimally invasive, which is how I do it. Basically, what that is I use a camera. I use a camera to go in there, and I do it with small instrumentation to precisely move the parts of the septum that are deviated and remove anything that's superfluous or blocking the airway. And that's done because we can make shorter incisions. There's less undermining. There's less kind of operative stuff involved. It makes for a quicker, faster, less painful recovery.
How do patients tolerate that when you do it in the office?
Fine. Honestly, we spray some numbing spray in there, then squirt some gel in there, and I'll put like pieces of cotton up there to fully get it numb. After that, they can't feel anything, and they're fully awake and they do pretty well actually. So now, at the same time, you could put someone to sleep. Totally fine to do that as well. To be honest, I don't think you need to, but you absolutely could. Even if he was put to sleep and had the whole septum done, let's say it's a terrible septum, still 2 weeks, he's good to go.
So back to
100%.
Full activity, no restrictions, essentially within a couple weeks.
No restrictions. Absolutely. Like if the Jazz were making a run at the playoffs, no way this guy'd be sitting for 7 weeks. No way.
Yeah. Or maybe they just need a new team ENT.
Gotta call your boy Bron, man. And tap.
I don't want to throw shade. I don't want to throw shade at his surgeon. So I don't know. I think there's more going on than just who he's seeing.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Utah's making sure that they get out rebounded for the rest of the season and lose some games, because we got the best draft class in a long time, or maybe in our lifetimes, coming in the top like 15, 20 picks this year. So that's what Utah's doing. Dr. H, do you think there's anything else that's relevant or, that could be added here, or any other thoughts you have? And we appreciate you coming on, of course.
And I got one question before you leave after you answer this one.
So honestly, I don't think they're not making a run for the playoffs. They're making a run for a better draft pick. I don't think there's anything more relevant. They just planned this out poorly. What they should have said is he broke his nose and they have to reset it. He's going to be in a cast for a while and it's going to be very fragile and he can't play. He could have stretched that out for 3 months. That would have been a more plausible excuse.
Sure.
Again, if they added like a nasal fracture into that, they could have done that. It would have been more reasonable, but 7 weeks for a septoplasty?
No chance.
No chance.
This is my last question for you, Dr. H. We're going to ask all our guests this. What's your hot sports take for the next 12 months? Doesn't matter what sport. Well, we need a hot sports take that you're going to put your name on, and not something that's obvious, but, we want to hear what hot
Todd gives. Todd will say Shai's going to win MVP. That's his hot sports take.
I think I might have said Wemby after that, but, for you, Dr. H, what's your hot sports take over the next 12 months? Any sport. You can have a couple of them, but we want to hear it from you.
The MLS, Major League Soccer, will never fully get going in the U.S. because the availability of the English Premier League in this country has been steadily increasing and is going to skyrocket and kind of outcompete them. I mean, it is the talent level there. There's no comparison. The competitiveness there, no comparison. And I think believe it or not, the English Premier League, just like the NBA is in Europe, is going to raise in popularity here.
How do they remedy the time problem? And by that, I mean, you can't ever watch it at night.
That's true. You can't. But the games are primarily played on the weekend. And to be honest, it's one of the best parts about my weekend morning. Like this past weekend, I woke up early. I watched the gold medal hockey game. And immediately after that, put on some EPL. It was great.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
no,
it's just you got to start the party and get into that case a little early. You know, that's all.
What is nice about soccer is that it starts on time and it ends on time, no matter what. It's never like, oh, the game's at 6:30 and it's 6:50 and they haven't tipped off yet. Starts on time, 15-minute halftime, 45 more minutes, maybe 2 more, and then you're done.
True.
So
the worst is when you have a sport that runs late, goes to overtime. You're not you for whatever reason can't watch it live. You record it, and then the recording ends before the game ends.
Oh no!
Or you go to a game and you have a flight to catch, and it goes to overtime, or it goes later, and you gotta leave the game early.
Guilty of that too.
You've experienced that.
I've definitely experienced that for sure.
But that's awesome, man. Some awesome insight there. For the casual fan that doesn't understand, the nuances of a septoplasty and what that means. This was super helpful. So
man, they need to get fined again because the odor of mendacity is strong here.
Yeah, well, you guys just heard it from Dr. Matt Hershkovitz from SoCal Breathe Free Sinus and Allergy Centers in Burbank, California, your premier ENT clinic in California. If you guys need anything, you know where to find him. Thank you, Dr. H, for coming on. We appreciate your candor and you explaining exactly what's going on. Thank you for being our first guest, and we appreciate you.
You're the man.
Hey, happy to be here anytime you guys need.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So Todd might even agree that this is a little crazy, but there's rumors that Bronny James, G League sensation, USC standout, former USC standout, is getting.
I don't know if he was even a standout in the USC.
I mean, he averaged 1.6 points a game and was a bench player on a below 500 team. But I was trying to hype it up since he's potentially getting a shoe. He wore one very recently. It actually looks better than a lot of the LeBrons, to be honest. I think it was a Bron 9 PE, but the Bronny logo on the back, it was pink. It's like it's a lowercase b on the back. Not actually that bad, to be honest.
The shoe. Kind of like it. You shouldn't get one.
No. So first of all, Bronny got 2 MVP or All-Star votes, one of which was his dad, the other which had to have been Draymond Green. Right? There's no way. Draymond didn't even vote for himself or Steph.
Draymond.
So, what are your thoughts if Bronny somehow gets a Bronny 1? Which by the way, Denny Avia doesn't even have a shoe. Like, there's plenty of players that don't have shoes. Steph doesn't even have a shoe right now. And you get the Bronny James 1, you copping or what?
No, I mean, look, if the shoe's nice, he doesn't deserve a shoe. I don't know, man. I don't know if kids these days like Bronny or respect Bronny. I see kids in the gym wearing Sabrina's. If the shoe's cool, they'll rock it. But he obviously doesn't deserve a shoe, and I can't imagine Nike would do that as a business move. That's almost too much nepotism for my taste. And I don't even know how the LeBron shoes are doing. Currently, I think a lot of the kids these days. I mean, obviously they're releasing the Kobe's. They're re-releasing a lot of Kobe's, which kids are wearing a lot of. Books are super popular. Obviously these days, I'm seeing even the Jaws.
A lot of Jaws, man.
Different colorways, which is cool, which is different than when we were playing. Like, you can obviously Nike ID the Jaws, right? So depending on what color you want, you can create your own exclusive shoe, which is pretty dope. But Cade needs that signature shoe. I think he's the one that needs it. And if I'm Nike, I talk to Steph about getting something for the last couple of years of his career. I think if they created a dope Steph shoe, those would go crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I like the way the shoe looked, but I don't know if I'm buying Bronny's. You know what I mean? And I don't think any NBA player is going to wear the Bronny, which is what you want as Nike. You want NBA players to wear the shoe because you see players wearing the books and obviously Kobe's and stuff.
Kobe's by far number one, by far.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And book, I think.
Yep.
Nobody really wears the bronze. I see more Jaws almost than I see bronze. But what's interesting, like I mean, Grayson Allen wears the Sabrina Ionescu's. Those are pretty dope.
They are. That's what I'm saying. I see a lot of people wearing them, and I don't think they think Sabrina's like oh, like Sabrina's a hooper. I need to get these. Like she obviously is a great player, but the shoe itself, Nike did a great job with the shoe. So yeah, I see a lot of players wearing those actually. Like, who do we see wearing those? Didn't we see like DeAndre Ayton or somebody wearing those when we were there? Yeah, like a lot of players are wearing those.
What I'll say is if somehow the book ones were the Steph Nike ones and they were like wearable with, jeans, they would be out of here.
That's what I mean.
Out of here. But there was a post yesterday or the day before that showed Steph working out, even though he's still hurt, which I don't know how that's going because he was game time decision before the All-Star break, and then he's out the first 5 games after the All-Star break. So whatever. But they were Antas with the Curry logo on the back that he was wearing. So Clay's brand from Japan or China or wherever they're from, with Steph Curry Antas. I mean, maybe they give him a good deal, and he's also maybe is a little, still a little sour taste in his mouth from Nike from before with your boy Nico Harrison messing that up. So I don't know. I hope it's a Curry Nike shoe just so I can buy one, but maybe he's gonna rock the Antas. I'm definitely not buying those.
I don't even know where you would buy them.
I asked Ryan. So our boy owns a sneaker store here, but I was like, yo, if I go to Foot Locker, can I walk in? I haven't been to a Foot Locker in forever. Can I buy Clay Antas? And he goes, yeah, you can buy them there, which I would never have guessed. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't been to a Foot Locker either. I get all my shoes online these days.
Yeah.
So
I'm old, so I just order them off Nike or whatever. But
he's a shoe free agent. I think. I don't know. I don't know if money's gonna sway Steph at this point. It sways everybody. Like it's the world we live in, but at the same time, I think Steph will make a decision based on what he wants to wear, the brand he wants to be associated with. But they can throw him money. A Steph Nike is going to go crazy. He's going to sell way more shoes than if he signs with Anta. So, Steph, sign with Nike, man. Please.
If it's not about money, he's not picking Anta because I don't think anyone even knows who that is. Besides like a Warriors fan, because I think Clay has one. Who else had one? There's somebody else. CP didn't have one. It was somebody else that was older. That was a hooper that had them. I mean, dude, like you have like the Hardens and the Ants, which are terrible, right? You can get Joel Embiid Skechers if you want. You know what I mean? But it's like I hope
New Balance. Is trying to get breaking the basketball game with Cooper Flag. Kawhi and but that's never. I mean,
dude, please don't pick Anta, please. But if it's Nike, hopefully they do a shoe that's not as sporty and they do a shoe that's more like a crossover, like the Book One. And because if you could actually somehow wear Steph shoes outside, like they would. I mean, I don't think they'd be able to make them fast enough. So
out of here. Yep.
Yeah. On to a little NBA. We obviously have Jokic. I ruled out of any of these awards. I think with how much time he missed, and I think with just what's going on, you have either Cade or Jaylen Brown potentially as the MVPs. Also, when you look at like their preseason picks, I checked out a few different preseason polls, one of which was ESPN. ESPN had Boston projected to win 40 games and be the 15th best team in the NBA.
Wow.
And they had Detroit as the 12th best team with like 44 wins or something like that, which we talked about Detroit potentially being first or second or third in the East. Like we had them way higher than they did, but we had Boston nowhere near the playoffs.
No chance.
They had them a 40-win team. They have 37 wins right now.
Yeah.
And they're 5 games behind.
Yeah. They're in a weird spot. When I say weird spot, it's with Tatum. Like, what do you do with Tatum, right? You're playing so good right now. You're playing just as well, with him. And if you're Tatum, it's all about the doctors clear you, obviously. Like Boston needs to be like, the doctors have to tell you, look, he's fine. Like he can play. And then what do you do? In Tatum's perspective, if you come back and you play and they're not as good, then, that's tough. Tatum, it's weird. And you can't come back right before the playoffs. I assume you probably have to come back before then to acclimate yourself. I'm not sure that Boston can win the championship without Tatum playing well, but if he comes in and they don't look as good, messes up their rhythm, it's a interesting dance because Boston's playing. I mean, they're playing really well right now. Jaylen Brown's playing at that MVP level. Pritchard has played great. And their role players are playing good. Mazzulla, as weird as he is doing a fantastic job. So I'm really interested to see if Tatum comes back this year. Or if you just let it ride and be like, look, it's not even worth it. But if the doctors come back and say, he's fine, he can play, there's no risk, then, that I don't know, they have a decision to make. Both of them have a big decision to make. I got to assume he comes back, but I don't know, man. It's to incorporate him this late in the game is going to be trickier than you think, even though he's obviously been a part of that team for years. I think it's going to be tough.
Well, they also got rid of, Chris Stapps. They got rid of Drew Holiday, right?
Simons.
From their pride team. Yeah, and Anthony, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, I mean, they're 37-19, and they obviously just added Vucevic, which, I mean, he hasn't played a whole lot yet, so he's not really part of that. And they're a 2 seed, 5 games behind Detroit. Here's what I'll say. And I don't want to put this on Jason Tatum. He puts it on himself when he says that he's got Mamba mentality, but damn well Kobe Bean Bryant is fucking walking through that door no matter what they tell him in those playoffs. And Kobe Bean is off, right?
Of course.
So that's in his head. He's got to be thinking that, right? And the team won't be better with him in the beginning, to your point, because you're integrating, a ball dominant, MVP level Olympian player to your team that has been successful. And Jaylen Brown, I always said I would take him over Tatum, even though he's not as talented, just because he's a dog. He's proven it. 29, 7-5 right now. Peyton Pritchard lit up the Warriors, lit up the Lakers last night. Right? He had 30. No, it was last night or 2 nights ago. Either way, smashed them. Sunday night off the bench for like 30 plus, cooking. I mean, he looking like Steph out there, right? So then you have Cade Cunningham, who the team was supposed to be better. They were obviously a competitor in the playoffs last year. He's 25, 6, and 10, which is crazy. They're 42 and 14, 5 games ahead. Obviously, Jalen Duren, it could be a candidate for most improved player. He's such a beast. I mean, he posterized Wemby last night. Although Wemby was flat-footed, got dunked on, but
he got turned around, and then it was too late.
He was cooked. But I mean, Wemby is also so big that he ain't gonna move that fast. So it's like, I don't know. But for my money, man, I thought, and granted the experts didn't, but I thought that Detroit's a top 4 Eastern team, so they're still a top 4 Eastern team. Maybe they're 1. I think it's got to be Jaylen Brown if it stays status quo, just because Boston had no business being the number 2 seed. And here's another thought for Tatum. The first round, no matter what, will be a bad team in the East. If they somehow end up first, I don't know if they can, but if they do, and they're playing the 4-5, and the 4-5 isn't New York, it isn't Detroit, right? And
not Cleveland.
Cleveland. If it's not one of those teams in the second round, you could play them in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could figure it out and still win, and maybe figure it out in the second round. Then you really don't need it till whoever gets through to the third, after the 4-5 game. I guess the 4 would be Cleveland, and maybe Harden will make you think twice about that. I don't know. But I'm going Jaylen currently as it sits. I mean, Cleveland's, I think, 5-1 since they got James Harden, but they were winning at sort of that kind of clip anyways.
Yeah. I think, look, Jaylen Brown is the alpha on that team. He was Finals MVP. He's just, I think Jaylen Brown, and he sent out like a cryptic tweet basically about their record a couple of weeks ago and how it's the same, or they're close to the same this year as it was last year. I think kind of saying like, hey, with or without Tatum, we're just as good. I think Jaylen Brown has been unbelievable. To your point, Cade, I hate Detroit because I want the Knicks to win, but I love Detroit because I love the way they play. I mean, they're just grimy. They're tough. They're going to be they're going to be a tough out. But yeah, I don't know about Tatum, man. We'll see. Again, as good as Boston's playing, I can't see him winning a championship without Tatum playing at a high level. But you never know. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the year pans out and if he actually does come back. So
we have 6 or 7 weeks, 7 weeks, give or take. I think it's like 24, 25 games, 23 games, depending on which team you are and where you're sitting. So we have a decent amount of time. I mean, if you give Tatum the last like 7 to 10 games of the year plus the first round, I mean, I think it's worth it to roll the dice, assuming he's okay. I mean, it's been a while, and I know he was ahead of schedule early on. I haven't, seen progress in a while, but he thinks he's Kobe, and Kobe would be back if he could, especially because there's a chance to win, man. It's wide open. OKC might not ever get fully healthy. San Antonio could be the favorites, right? So it's like, which we called, by the way, or I called. I don't know if it was you, us, or me. I don't remember, but I know I did. They're dangerous. Obviously, I was wrong about Dallas, but Houston's up there and stuff. So like, it's kind of wide open. So man,
Dallas hasn't gotten healthy. We thought that AD was going to be playing and that Kyrie was,
Kyrie's not coming back, dude.
Nah, right? So and
obviously, as we proved to you earlier in the show, the tank is real. We brought you, insider information on the surgery that Yusuf Nurkić is having that should never take that long to recover from. So obviously Utah's tanking because they need that top 8 or top 4 protected pick.
Yep.
And we brought you some exclusive content and stories about our boy Floyd Money Mayweather and why he's coming back to the Sphere in September for this fight that nobody wants to watch. So, don't go bet on Division 1 AA or Division 2 or Horizon League or whatever the hell I was watching. I don't know. Go watch Todd's boys team, UT Rio Grande Valley. They're doing some big things. They balled out in that game. I watched like half of that game yesterday. There were some moments in there, man. They shouldn't, based on the spread, have had a chance, and they were in that game the whole time, which is dope. So
awesome. Shout out Cahill, my man Cahill.
Yeah, let's go watch Todd's boy, and we'll see you next time. There should be some big NBA movement in the next week or two as these teams start to really make that final playoff push and we figure out which teams are actually tanking.
Sir.
All right. Well, there's one thing you definitely cannot do.
You already know. Can't teach taste.
Peace.